Bang, Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Popcast. Whenever you're listening to this, whether it be live or a VOD, Twitch or YouTube, or Spotify, while you are taking out a second mortgage to pay your way to Low Tide City, scrambling to become the first tournament to have an analyst desk, it's the claim that you were the first one to do it and that everybody's copying you, revealing your face for the entire internet to see. Whatever it is that you're doing right now, appreciate you taking the time out of your day to listen to this. Unless I don't. I'm really out of the loop of this whole dream thing. I didn't know who that person was. I only knew them as the person that like allegedly cheated their Minecraft speedrun or something like that, and then they're revealing their face. I'm like, why does anyone care? And then they got 2 million followers on Twitch or Twitter. I'm like, oh, okay, this is something, I guess. So there, that happened. Congratulations for those who care about that. I said on my Twitter that I was going to talk about the Launch Point Draft Cup and the teams that played in it. I lied. I looked into the Launch Point Draft Cup afterwards and realized, oh crap, there's not a lot of good, funny pickup team names here. And I don't really recognize, it's hard, I guess unless you have the role, you can't just like look up the roster of every single person that was on all these other teams. So I couldn't really find any information without having to dig super deep into it. And there's not a crazy amount of funny pickup team names here anyways. Chibi Squid Squad. That's pretty good. Vampire Squids of Hell. Isn't that where aren't all vampires from hell? I thought that was the thing. I don't understand. Where else could vampires come from? Ohio, maybe? Possibly? I don't know. The winner, though, if I had to give out an award for the best, worst pickup team name from the Launch Point Draft Cup, it'd come from the Moya, I believe I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, the Moya Feet Simps. I have no idea what that is, but if you think I'm putting that in my Google browser history, you're out of your mind. We're not doing that, so they win the worst one. And that's the team that actually won the whole tournament, so shout out to Yaru, Nova, Grits, and Org for winning the Launch Point Draft Cup. I believe the number 11, unless it's not. News of tournaments that may be of interest to the casual listener of the podcast. The Big House is this weekend. That doesn't apply to any of you unless you've already signed up for it. But since Big House is going on, that usually means there's not really anything else going on online during that event. 20XX is going to be next weekend. That is a major hosted by Dapple Productions. What is a major or minor? I don't know. It's got a cash prize of $500. So that fits our universally agreed upon definition of what a major is, at least for now. Low Ink is the weekend after that. And I am here to tell you this. If you signed up for Low Ink, you did it wrong. I've only seen a handful of teams correctly sign up for Low Ink. We are now requiring you to use your splash tag. The actual, your actual name with the hashtag and the numbers that follow it on Splatoon. You have to put that as your IGN on Battlefy. Only a handful of teams did that, and it's not a suggestion. It's not something that we hope you do. It's a requirement. So we're going to start pinging people eventually and be like, hey, you didn't read the rules. It's something you got to get your players to do. It's going to be a grind. It's going to be frustrating to get people to do that. I understand. Getting my team to do anything is why I don't have any hair up to this point. So get on it now. Sign up for Low Ink now. I say that every time, but you always wait till the last minute, and we always kick people out because they always wait too long. Don't be that team. Also, Low Tide City got announced yesterday. I was listening to the Panda Cup or whatever, just the stream while I was playing Splatoon, and I hear the advertisement they were doing, and then I just hear K-Bot commentating the time I squid bagged Haya. I was like, whoa, wait, what's going on here? So Low Tide City's back. It's going to be May 13th and 14th. So make sure you sign up for that and go to it. Don't be in a rush to sign up for it, though. You got plenty of time. And a lot of people were pointing this out. I don't really get it. They're like, oh, it's only a 2-day event. It was a 2-day event last time. Every LAN, well, not every, but the vast majority of LANs are 2-day events. Shine was 2 days. If you exclude the first day where it was just the spin wheel thing. Riptide was 2 days. If you exclude the side event, which was Splatoon 3. The previous Riptide, the first Riptide was a 3-day event. It probably didn't have to be 3 days. Yes, Low Tide City was a 3-day event. Or it was a 2-day event. The Big House is a 2-day event. But yeah, Low Tide City, remember, we all got there on Thursday. And then Friday, we went through the whole day Friday, and we were at the campfire, and I said, wait a minute, what the hell are we doing here? This doesn't start till Saturday. So yeah, there was we did like the IPL podcast on that Friday, but the actual tournament was just a 2-day thing. Like most of these LANs are just 2 days. They really don't need to be 3. Like the first Riptide was being 3 was probably just because like the Smash wanted them to make it stretched out to 3, but it really didn't have to be stretched out to 3. Unless it did. I don't know. Today we are going to be previewing the Big House, including every single team that signed up for this. Not every single person, mind you. I don't know all of you, but I will be talking about every single team to some extent. Literally all 21 of them. I had to look up some final information. And there are some teams I knew nothing about, and I did some deep digging and diving and found something I can say about them. So we're going to be talking about that today. But first, Low Tide City is back already. I was thinking we were going to get out of this weekend not knowing what the next Splatoon LAN was going to be. Of course, it was assumed Low Tide City would be back. It is assumed Riptide will be back. I know there's interest in bringing Shine back. I guess we could assume it's still going to be there until heard otherwise. Everyone's holding out hope for Genesis because we need something on the West Coast. Yes. Is everybody going to get a LAN? I see people always tweeting out, well, when are they going to put a LAN in West Virginia? Like, nobody cares about you, bro. I'm sorry, South Dakota. You're not getting a South Dakota LAN. But it is worth pointing out that the West Coast has diddly poo to work with. So a lot of eyes are on Genesis. Like, hey, you didn't say no to Splatoon. You've tweeted out, hey, it might be there. We'll keep an eye on it. Oh, I wonder if that means they're seeing how Big House is going to go before they commit to it, or if they're just looking for the right person to run it. I don't know. But we now know, for at least now, Low Tide City is going to be the next thing. I think about Low Tide City. It was only 6 months ago, about 5 or 6 months ago. Who's going to be running Low Tide City for Splatoon next year? I have no idea. I have no clue. But when I think back to what happened 6 months ago, the people that were running it were all the people that are now running every LAN that we have across the board. It was K-Bot passing the torch down to Raze, Kraken, Rizza, and Siren, who have now dispersed across the land to spread the gospel of K-Bot to all these lands across the country here. When you think about it, K-Bot only had three lands under his belt before he quote unquote retired to go off to grad school. And I said this at the time. I said it was important for us to move forward, not just take the knowledge that K-Bot bestowed upon those TOs and just like, okay, let's go and just replicate this forever. No, I said we got to take the things the community has learned and move forward. Let's add some new things. Let's be innovative. And that's why I'm really excited about the Big House and why I think this might be the best LAN we've ever had in Splatoon. The Big House is going to be innovative and will set the standard for LANs to come. New things are going to be popping up here. And that's a good thing. New things should be tried in LANs because we don't get a lot of LANs, so we might as well try different things there. It's so often this mindset of, well, let's just do what we do online and create it into a LAN environment. No! Online tournaments are completely different from LAN tournaments. We don't have to do the same exact things across the board. And the best thing about the Big House is they ain't. They're trying a lot of new stuff. And I'm glad we're getting to this point. And you should expect it to get to this point because now we got experienced TOs that are going to be running this event. First off, Raze, at the beginning of the year, was one of the people running Low Tide City, has now gone to run Riptide and now the Big House. So those three LANs I was talking about, Raze has that in a year. So three LANs right then and there to learn from, to learn mistakes from and grow and get a little bit better and think of some new ideas. Plus, you got the Magic 8 Ball, who has been a part of all of these LANs to some extent, but also has a ton of experience running a local in Philadelphia, who one of my teammates, Baki, went to with his brother and apparently whooped ass across the Philadelphia scene there a couple of weeks ago. So you got a lot of experience here, and you got a lot of energy, and you got a lot of fresh ideas. So let's get into some of these new ideas that you're going to be seeing in this tournament that you probably haven't seen before. First off, waterfall. What the heck is a waterfall format? I'll be completely honest with you. I don't fully know. Well, obviously, we'll get a better idea for this after the Big House. But here's what I know about waterfall in general. And I asked this question, use this comparison. It was confirmed to me by Raze that this is a good comparison to make. So you think about a PGA golf tournament, professional golf tournament, or the Live Tour, I guess, if that's your thing now. It's a 4-day event, and you'll have about 100 golfers start off on Thursday. At the end of that day, they'll determine, here's what the cutoff line is. If you are above this score, you get to play on Friday. If you're below this score, you're out of the tournament. And they don't know what the cutoff line is until everybody's done. And that's essentially what this format is going to be. Is that going to start at the redemption stage? I would think that might be the case. Again, I don't know, but that's the general idea. The more games you win, the better odds are that you're going to stay in the tournament, and the more you lose, the better odds are that you're going to get kicked out sooner than what you think. So the idea is you're in a giant bathtub and a waterfall is coming down and you're trying to keep your head above water. Now, that's probably a gross oversimplification explanation of that. So don't take my word for how I just explained it for any actual credit. Here's what I do know about waterfall, though. It is a very controversial format for some people in particular. There have been a lot of people in favor of trying waterfall, and there have been a lot of person who has been very against anything waterfall related. And I don't have an opinion either way because, again, I don't really know. Hi, Turkey. I like the sweater as well. I don't really know. My point is, I'm excited to see something new being done at a LAN. Again, when you have an environment with a TO right there and not just some face on the internet behind a keyboard, you can try some new things. So give it a shot. And again, the formats for any of these things, it really, when you boil it down, it really doesn't matter. In the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter that much. I mean, groups, ladders, double elimination, Swiss, provolone, whatever format you want to do, that at the end of the day, the rule of the tournament is this. Win your games, forehead. If you can't beat a team in a best of 3, why do you get the pounded table and demand that you get an opportunity to lose to them again in a best of 5? Yes. Would I rather play certain teams in one environment versus the other? Yes. But at the end of the day, win your games, forehead. But we'll see how Waterfall makes things different. I like that they're trying new things. The counter pick system. You know what everybody hates? Counter picks. You know why? Because, well, with Splatoon 2, everybody was just counter picking the same thing and everybody was using the same comp, so it's not like you had an advantage over the other team. We're going to pick tower control at Art Academy. Okay, the other team wants to do that too. Who cares? You're just going to missile spam each other to death. Does it really make a difference? But the counter pick system online is slow. It's annoying to some extent. And while I like it, I was the one who suggested it for Low Ink, stole it from SAC. It is kind of annoying to some extent that if you lose, you get to control both the map and the mode. That is a huge advantage. Now, you should get some sort of help. You're the team that's losing, and some people would argue, oh, that's not enough. You should also be allowed to force what your opponent's roster is during these things. But my point being, when you have a TO that is, again, right there, you don't have to stick to the same low ink counterpick rules that we've always done in the past. Instead, you could try something new. Remember at the beginning of the year when Reddit ran a online tournament, and you could tell those TOs were directly from Smash because they did this strike system. So it was, here's what game 2 is going to be, Rainmaker. You lost, you get to slash out these 2 maps. You won, you get to slash out like 1 map or something like that, and then you who lost, you get to pick this map. How they pull that off online is beyond me. I think they had some bots specifically designed for that to make it go smoother, but that was a format that was very well received by the players that played in that tournament. However, again, you can't do that online. Well, they did it, but it'd be a lot easier if you just did it in a LAN. But we don't do that stuff at a LAN. The last few ones have just been literally copying the low ink rules. This time around, it is the counterpick strike system. And I will read this off word from word so I don't actually screw up how this works. Because even this is a little bit unorthodox as far as what we've done in the past with Splatoon 2. So, the counter pick system works as so. Stalling. And this is the announcement given out by Magic 8 Ball. At the beginning of the set, the captain of each team will come to me in front of the stage. That's Magic. There will be a pool of 3 maps for each ranked mode. Each team will strike 1 map in the following order: splat zones, higher seed strikes first, lower seed strikes second, etc. like that. This will leave one map remaining for each mode. There will be the counter pick pool. So there you go. Instead of one team controlling the map and the mode, it's a collaboration between both teams, which again is something you can't do online. Well, you can do online, but it's a lot easier when you just got a TO there. Like, hey, 30 seconds. What maps are you eliminating? Cool. You, 30 seconds. What map are you eliminating? Cool. Here's the map we got. Let's go. 1 minute and we got it done. That's awesome, and I'm glad that we're trying something different. Again, this is not an online tournament. Think outside the box a little bit. Try something new. I like that. We could never do that in low ink. It's pulling teeth to get you idiots to just make one counter pick, and half the time it's an illegal one because you keep trying going back to splat zones, and it's like, no, you can't just win the whole tournament, camp it out on splat zones. So I like that there's a collaboration between both teams, and it seems like you have to cycle through all the modes anyways, which made me think, oh crap, is this the Nintendo thing? No, Magic and Rays are a lot smarter than Nintendo. I hope they're not listening to that. But this, I liked it. I like that it's something new, and it's something that is probably going to make this ultimate epic grand finals that I'm going to get to in a minute even better. But why do we need counter picks? Well, in this instance, counter picks are more important than they've ever been before. So let's take a little opportunity to talk about map lists. Everybody's favorite conversation to have. And if you're one of those people that are like, it's too early to talk about map lists, just mute the stream for like 10 minutes or so. A new game means new conversations about what's good and bad in this game. Is it too early to have this conversation? Yes! Are we going to do it anyways? Yes, we need to come up with some sort of list of maps that are good and bad, at least initially, so that we can come up with a map list, not a universal map list, not a we're banning these maps forever kind of list, but here's a small list of maps that you can practice on for the month or whatever before the tournament. And here's what you should be using in scrims. And if we find out some of them sucked, we can just change them out with something else next month. And then we can just work through that. And then once we've actually practiced everything, I guess January is the deadline that's been set. So that's when we're legally allowed to have a conversation about map lists. We've at least practiced through everything. But you can't just do all the maps at once. It's too much. Let's break them down into chunks at a time. When you look at map lists from the past, let's just look at this year alone. Low Tide City, the number of map mode combinations that they had at Low Tide City, 17. I like that. I played Low Tide City. 17 is pretty good. And you think 17, like, wow, aren't you going to run out of maps quickly? Yes. Think about it. At a LAN, every set is not best of 3. They're all best of 5. So Low Tide City had a group stage, a redemption bracket, and a double elimination tournament the next day with a bronze Swiss bracket as well. So you're going to run out of all 17 maps before you even get out of your group, right? No, you're going to run out of them in a redemption bracket. So you're going to play the same maps over and over and over again. But nobody at Low Tide City complained about that. The 17 map seemed to go over pretty well. Shine had a grand total of 20 maps. Riptide had a whopping 21 maps for their Splatoon 2 event. How many maps are in the Big House map pool as the last time that I checked when Bronze posted the map pool? 38! We've jumped from 17 to 20 to 21 to 38. I haven't looked at everything, but I'm willing to bet money today that during the pandemic era that we've been in, and will be in until we die, apparently, this is, I assume this is the biggest map pool we've ever seen in a Splatoon tournament like this. Unless you want to include day one of Riptide, which technically had every single map in it, then no, that would be the answer. But 38! My goodness, that is a massive map pool. Now, keep in mind, we are going to get twice as many maps before this game is done, right? Like we had 23 at the end of Splatoon 2. So it's reasonable to believe that we're going to get 11, if not 12 more maps over the course of the lifespan of Splatoon 3. So double the amount of maps. And if we want to get down to those low 20s, high teens that we were seeing in these lands at the end of Splatoon 2's life cycle, all of the maps that you're going to play at the big house, only a handful of them are going to make it into the final draft universal map list that we might end up coming up with at some point. So a lot of the maps you're going to see, just enjoy them now. They're not going to be here forever. But 38 maps is a lot. And again, that's just kind of how maps are at the beginning of this lifespan. We don't really know what to get rid of, what maps we should focus on, because people are so against having any kind of conversation about it at all. All right, fine. Here's your 38 map pool tournament, because we can't talk about it till January. All right, fair enough. But that's where the counter picks kind of show that they're even more important than what they've ever been, because they'll be critical in the later stage of the tournament. There's also another new thing that I can't really talk about because I don't think it's 100% official yet. That's going to be coming up from the production side of the event. We've already gotten our list of who might be doing what, but we're also told that nothing is like 100% guaranteed. So I'm not going to leak anything here. I don't even know if it's leaking something, but I'm not even going to hint at what it could be. But I will say this. There is some extra things being done on the production side as well that you don't traditionally see at a LAN event, which is another innovative thing. And I hope that whatever issues could arise that would prevent that get overworked, because it'd be really cool to see that in there as well. Now, all of these new things are exciting. Is it going to be awesome? Is it going to be a cool event because of that? I don't know. I appreciate, though, that the fact that it's being tried, that new things are being tried. And again, I feel like this is what these TOs should be working for. They're getting these tournaments under their belt. Rizzo and Siren have gone off. They've run Shine. They're getting more experience running lands the way we've always had. You got to try new things. And if they don't work, then all of the TOs looking at that would say, okay, Waterfall didn't work. Or the counterpick system needs to be tweaked a little bit or something like that. Like, we don't know until we actually see it in person in practice. So I hope it all works out. And if not, it's just going to lead to better things down the road anyways. But that's not why you should watch this tournament. And I don't want to come across as you need to watch this tournament. No, there's nothing more cringe than we need as many views as we can. Everybody, turn on every single device you got and log on to this to watch this stream so it gets as much views. No, that's not how you grow a community, by forcing people to watch your events. You got to create a desire for them to watch their event. And there is a huge desire to watch the big house that we haven't seen since Genesis 7. Let's kind of talk about the teams that signed up for these tournaments in general. Low Tide City. How would you classify Low Tide City just based off the teams that signed up for it? I said it was an SAC tournament with the grand prize being a free 3-game coaching session from FT Win, which is essentially what it was. Now, there were some people there that were clearly banned from SAC, but at the end of the day, it was mostly mid-level tournaments with FT Win being there, that whenever they weren't distracted by a Valorant tournament, they decided to whoop the ass of whoever was unfortunate enough to be across from them. I believe they only dropped one game that entire time, the Blush. Shine, it was a little bit smaller event, but we all knew going into it that it was just going to be Cherry Limeade versus your mom. And I think most of us assumed, as good as Cherry Limeade was, the roster that your mom brought the Shine was just better, until Cherry Limeade beat him twice in winners finals and after a bracket reset in grand finals. But we knew that was going to be it at the end of the day, those two teams going up against each other. Riptide, Assault of the Sasquatch. Not Attack, my bad. Assault of the Sasquatch. Now, who's going to take them on in grand finals? Is it the Leotos team? No, it's Red Sun having a Cinderella run, surviving the +3 hell that was being played off stage between all the Assault of Pepper, Fiction, Crustacean Crusader pickups of the week that were just beating up on each other. Red Sun survived that. And that's a really good story and probably played a major role in them becoming partnered with In Control. So, yeah, that was a pretty cool event. But this time around, there's no fluff. There's no fat. It's all meat and bones at this event. It's something you haven't seen since Genesis 7. A true number 1 team versus a true number 2 team. Starburst versus Sayonara. And this is not some sort of situation where, where one of our teammates is banned and we need a sub, or, this isn't FT Win. It's not FT Win. No. You look at the rosters, unless something has changed dramatically, which always has the possibility of happening, of somebody's flight not landing in time or something like that. It's 100% Starburst and 100% Sayonara, who most people would argue are the top 2 teams outside of Japan right now. They're going to be in the same venue playing against each other an entire weekend. That is awesome, and that's something you got to appreciate, because you don't know when you're going to see those 2 teams play against each other, we assume in grand finals and winners finals, in a LAN environment again. And it's not just them. Kyo and Leafy have a pickup going into this. Last Resort with Chara and Arashi have a pickup as well. Not as Last Resort, but those 2 players from Last Resort are playing with Max and Shadowwind. Shinex and Twig have a team going into this one as well. So this is not a tournament for the faint of heart. There's not going to be some +3 team that, how did I find myself here in winners finals? Look at this. Nope. No, that's not how this is going to work. This is all monsters. If you want to make podium, you're going to have to earn it, because there's going to be some really strong teams and players that are not going to make top 4. And that's what you want to see out of an event. I'm not saying there's anything wrong. I was so happy when Haya got the grand finals with Blush at Low Tide City. It was awesome to see Cherry Limeade pull off the upset on paper at Shine. And Red Sun is an amazing story. Those are all things that anybody can watch it and appreciate. But what we all want to see, and we have been dying to see for so long, is the true top 2 monsters in the scene fighting it out against each other. This is our Mango Zane. This is our Spargo, and I might have just overhyped Spargo by putting him up in that category. And MK Leo. Like, this is our big house worthy grand finals that we're probably going to see between these 2 teams. And that's exciting. So I'm pumped up for this one. I hope it goes well, and I hope it convinces the Smash TOs, not that they need to continue and bragging in Splatoon to their other event, but more so just convince them that the investment that they put into our community was worthwhile. Warriors Cavs. Yeah, that was like 4 years of Warriors Cavs. But yes, your point still stands there. We'll look at all the teams signed up for this one in a minute. But first, we got to flip the page, because it is time for the weekly recap. Let's take a dip into Dapple Productions, which we don't do often here. but I do need to pay more attention to the EU scene. So let's look at paddling pool number 182, which was won by Squidding Good. Kara is an e-girl, took second place, and Spark Plus Subs ended up taking third. 33 teams signed up for this tournament, so it stopped being the groups into Top Cut section that it was last week. It is now back to this double elimination format. 182 events. They don't take a single week off, do they? Has there ever been like a week where they've taken off? SOS takes 1 week off every single month, but Paddling Pool just pedal to the metal and they just keep racking up these tournaments. And it's good to see that they're still getting a lot of participation as they usually do. Megalodon Cup number 7. Splat Zones only took place on Saturday and was won by Michelin Heroes. Voodoo, Do being DEW, took second place, and pickup number 29748 got third. I don't know who played for that team, but with a name like that, I'm sure you could just look it up on Google or something. My team didn't play in Megalodon Cup. We were going to, but when we looked at the teams that had signed up for it Friday night, we said, oh crap, either we win this tournament and it feels weird, or we get upset by a low ink team and it feels weird. So we have nothing to gain by playing in this tournament, so we didn't sign up for it. Only to wait the next day and see more than half the teams signed up just a few hours before the tournament actually took place, including strong mid-level teams, especially like Michelin Heroes. So the moral of the story is, you got to be the first team to sign up for a tournament. So sign up for it, and if it feels weird, you just drop beforehand. So that's probably what I should have done. But yeah, I dodged the tournament because I didn't see any team around our skill level that would have been fun to play against until it was too late and they all signed up at the last minute. Ugh. Monkey King Hero Invitational was won by Cool Dude, Spore, Nezzy, and Isabel. They beat the absolute dog crap out of everyone in that tournament. I think they might have dropped the game to Dude Squad. Dude, Krim, Barry, and Hammer, or maybe somebody else, I'm not totally sure, but I don't think they went totally undefeated, but that was a loaded team. Now, it doesn't matter, and I'm not saying that because the team I was on finished dead last, how it finishes, but the point of this tournament is not to determine who's the strongest roster that can be thrown together by somebody else. It's more so getting exposure for the competitive scene outside of the target audience that we have been having, which is just other competitive players. Thousands of people watch this tournament just from personal stream. Dude had over 1,000. Kiver had over 1,000. I think I saw Hammer with like 500 or so. I don't know if that was after a raid or something, but there were a lot of people keeping their eyeballs on this tournament, not on a main stream, but just off other people's individual streams. So there you go. It was cool to just get those kinds of things going there. The third tournament is, I believe, going to be taking place at some point, and I think there is an application to sign up for that. Don't know if I'll play in it again the third time, but we'll see what's available. I wouldn't mind playing in it again. The Chiefs beat the Buccaneers 41-31. Patrick Mahomes being a little silly. The Steelers finally decide to use the quarterback they drafted. They still lose to the Jets 24-20. The Rams played the 49ers tonight. And that was your weekly recap. Sponsored by Squeeg. So at the end of last episode of the Popcast, Squeeg DM'd me and said, hey, do you have some sort of donation thing for the sponsor of the weekly recap? Like, how do I become a sponsor of the weekly recap? And I said, no, there is no actual sponsor of the weekly recap. I don't know if you guys are aware of this or not, but these are all jokes. The good chunk of what I'm doing here is jokes. This isn't an actual production stream or anything like that, okay? If you want to donate, donate to IPL. In fact, I've done some commentary gigs where they're like, here's some money. Do you want it? I'm like, I'm not ready to set money yet, but donate it to IPL. But since Squeaked asked, we're going to do it. The official sponsor of this week's episode of the Weekly Recap goes out to Squeak. Congratulations. I assumed most people were in on the joke that the sponsorship's not a real thing. Some other past sponsorships of the weekly recap. The IPL Basement, Super Jump 2, Fireworks in general, Riley versus the Blade. I forget what that joke was about. Anybody with the IGN that had the word tax in it. JPEG's map list maker. So there you go. I appreciate all the sponsorships I've gotten over the course of my 137 episodes. Ugh. Let's take a look at all the teams playing in Big House and talk about them to some extent. So, is there anything weird on my screen here? No. These are all the events I went to. Okay. So, the order that I put them down on my notes here are not the same order that they appear here, because that's different from when I was looking them up at my phone versus this. So, it might take me some time to match what you see on screen with what I'm looking at on the paper. But we'll just go in the order that they have here. And this isn't like a particular seeding order. I'm not going like 1 through 21. I don't know what the seeds are. I wasn't involved in the seeding process. That's what we're worried about right now. We're just talking about the teams in general. Starting with the Water Breather Quartet. Okay, fair enough. Crimson Shadow, Jack, Dan the Man, Genie, and Knox. Where did I put these guys? We're already getting confused with this. Okay, this team could do really well. Dan the Man, obviously playing with Red Sun during Riptide, has played at Low Tide City. He's played at a lot of these lands. I think the only land I haven't seen Dan at was Shine. Crimson Shadows being I believe was on Jester at one point. Div 2 last Ludi season. And Genie, what were those Ink teams? Okay, tons of Ink teams, but like the Ink Alphas and the Sigmas and the Betas. Was Genie was on one of those Ink teams. I forget what it was. It wasn't Ink Zeta, but I remember Genie being a part of one of those, unless I'm completely wrong. Now, here's the problem with this team. This is probably the TO's least favorite team. The reason being, Knox and Genie are both commentators, so how well they do depends on what happens as far as the set is concerned. Yes, I outplayed my seed so well at Low Tide City, I lost my commentary spot. It can happen, and it was a pretty cool flex to be able to say I did that. But the sooner these guys get knocked out, the better for everybody. But when you look at this roster, it's pretty strong. I don't see them getting knocked out as quickly as maybe some people would hope. But I still think this is a pretty solid roster you got right here, especially when you got second place Dan the Man representing you here. For big men, Barry, Sedu, Lux, Opie, and Milana. Representing Spawn Point TV. And of course, Barry and Mel need no introduction. And I'm excited to meet them. I very vaguely met them at Genesis 7. I know who they were, but I don't think I didn't really know them that well, and I don't like I know them well here at all. But the Barry was on my Popcast before during one of their shopping spree tournaments, and it'll be cool to see them in person now and actually chat with them. So I'm really excited to meet them. How good are they actually going to do? I don't know. Both Barry and Mel beat my butt pretty good yesterday, so they're strong players in their own right, along with the rest of the team they've assembled here. For big men, you got 5 people on your roster. That's inaccurate information there. Hop aboard the gravy train. It's the the Grillers and Aquatic Vanguard doing a fusion dance for this one. Devin Boshin representing the Grillers. Obese Tyrese, Pac, and Cactus representing the AV squad. As we usually see these two teams kind of doing stuff together here. It even says up right here, mashup of the Grillers and Aquatic Vanguard. I didn't see those little side notes up top. Is that just them that had that? How did they pull that off? Interesting. So these guys are all really experienced players as far as lands are concerned. Cactus was at Riptide. Puck was at the last couple of Riptides. I saw Tyrese at Low Tide City. And Devi and Boshin have been to every land this year, excluding Shine. And Devi's been to Genesis before. So this is a veteran land squad. And I'm happy to see that they're continued coming to these events because it's always cool to hang out with them. I didn't get to hang out with any of them much at Riptide, so I'm going to try to do a better job of that here because they're all wonderful people, unless they're not. Umbre, Mikaru, Mothman, and Rin. Obviously going with the acronym here, UMRM. Fair enough here. Mothman's been doing the journey around as well. Shine, Riptide, and now Big House. Makes sense. Mothman lives in the Midwest, so like most of us that do live in the Midwest, you can just easily drive to a lot of these events, and it works out pretty well. Umbre, I believe, played at Low Tide City. Were they on that? Did they play for Persistence? Or were they on that? They either played for Persistence or was on the Crown 9 squad. I can't remember exactly. But they do another player that does have land experience in general, representing this team right here. Can we go back? Can I not do that? There we go. Big exclamation point. Now here we go. Now we're getting into the big boys here. This is Leafy and Keo, the pickup I was mentioning of Fake JP and Leotos. So there's like 5 teams that are in the mix of what we would call the big boy squad or something like that. I don't know, the top 5 teams. This team is in the top 5. If I had to rank the top 5, and I'll go ahead and do that, I'll place this team at number 3. I feel like when you have a roster that has Keo on it, you're set up for success. And obviously Leafy having a ton of land experience, finishing second place with not FT win, has the land experience with Keo, and also obviously was at the PAX West event with Leotos as well. So this is a strong team in general. And if this was like an actual team that practiced together, you would still put them in the top 3, not outside of that, just because the 2 teams that we have at the top right now are just going to be difficult to beat. But, just listening to Keo talk about PAX West, like, yeah, we're trying to win this tournament. We don't care. They're going to be going into this one with the mentality of trying to win it. And it would still surprise me if they did, but they still have enough firepower here to at least get third place, if not better. Chicken dinner, winner. Mud Cup, Tim, the pleb, Ash, and Vic Villian. I remember Ash a little bit while ago. Tried out for Sploot Troops a long time ago. I haven't talked to them since. But for Mud Cup, for those who don't know who Mud Cup is, one of the members of Azure consistently made 9th place here. This is going to be a tough tournament to make 9th place in again. But Mud Cup was going to run a LAN before the pandemic. I believe is in the Heartland without a D at the end, so not Heartland. In Michigan too. Ultimately got canceled because the pandemic sucks. And I believe this Mud Cup was at Riptide last year with Azure as they played in their final LAN tournament. So you got another, again, experienced team. And Vic Villian, it's just going to be cool to see Vic. That's that's cool. That's one of my personal things. Like, I'm kind of excited to meet that. Not that I'm like nervous or anything that there's a Splatoon celebrity there, but yeah, that's an exciting thing for a lot of people that Vic's going to be there for sure. Don't sub to Shinex, not Shinex, as I once called Shinex a couple of years ago. Twig, Cuber, Odds, and Shinex. So this team, I'll put it number 5 of the top 5 teams that we got going right here. Cuber, a Charger player, at least the last time when I knew Cuber, they were a Charger player. And they played at Riptide. But Charger is so doggone strong right now. And when you combine it with two members like Twig and Shinex that made deep runs at Riptide last year, a lot of land experience, odds as well, you got a strong core of a roster right here. Better than the other teams I got right above? I don't know. I feel like they could finish in the number 4 spot. I'll tell you who my number 4 team is when we get to them. But this is the team that's going to finish in the top 5 for sure. They're loaded with a strong roster right there. And that's a team that would win. If they played at Riptide, they would have won that as well. Just as kind of an example there. The Scraggy squad, Steffi, Rizza, Fusion, and Ace. And I did not realize this was the Ace that was on Jester that is always trying to annoy me on Destiny Troops' server until I looked at this and saw the icon. I was like, oh crap, that's Ace. So that's really cool that Ace is going to be there. Legit excited to meet them. But as you look at this roster in general, this roster's pretty good, actually. Probably top 8 material. Ace, a very strong gal player. Rizza, probably on Junior. Steffi, I believe, is that Steffi that used to do Mini? And obviously Fusion, who can do a variety of things, mainly with the blob. So this team, with Fusion coming off of the Ink Lawyers, finishing top 4 at Riptide, this team, I feel like, is top 8 material because they're all right at the same skill level with each other. There's no like, oh, well, we got to drag this one person along. How much they've been practicing together, I don't know, but this is a solid roster for sure. Definitely top 8 material. Another team battling for top 8. It's going to be this one right here. E. That's it. Just E. Okay, we'll take it. Pico, Raptora, Brock.com, and Bronze. Pico's been to a lot of lands this year. Brock.com was going to be at Riptide, got COVID and had to miss it, and I'm assuming has got through all of it and is now able to go to the big house. But Bronze, I thought nobody was going to get this award, but Bronze has done it. Bronze has done something that nobody on planet Earth can claim that they have done. Bronze has been to all 4 lands this year. Low Tide City, Shine, Riptide, and now the Big House. Bronze has completed the quadfecta that nobody else, no TO can say they've done that. No player, no spectator. The Pop Guns were representative. I went to 3 of the lands and my wife went to the 4th at Shine, but Bronze has done them all. So congratulations to that. And this is a strong team buying for top 4 as well. I couldn't believe it, but when I saw Bronze like there, I was like, doggone it, that feller's been to them all. That is crazy. The Drop Roller, I'm calling them the Drop Rollers. The Drop Roppers. Drop Ropers? English wasn't my first language. I grew up in Kentucky. Smiley, Fuchsia, Eris, and Froppy. If you don't know who Fuchsia is, they used to be the founder and maybe, well, one of the heads, but maybe also the founder of this server called Squid West. Squid West is a server based around the Midwest, but you go into it and you get into a chat and just like a text chat and a channel with other people that live in your state. So there is an Indiana chat, and we don't talk that much in the Indiana chat, so be it. There is Ohio. I think it goes from Pennsylvania all the way to I want to say Nebraska might be in there. Basically like the Big Ten. So Fuchsia used to be a part of that, and now my producer Carrot is the one who runs that server. I used to do the state servers, and doggone it, if there was another state versus state tournament, Indiana is going to win this one. We got a good squad, and we've developed some more talent over the course of the years. We could take down Michigan, and Ohio isn't scaring anybody anymore. So that's what I can say about this team. Eris was at Riptide as well. Don't know who Smiley is, but we'll get to know them. These guys are back. They're back for a 3rd time. Splat Force 3, Revenge of the Splat. What are you revenging? I don't know, Todd and Avril, but it's good to see you guys back here. This time around, the official subs for the old Splat Force team, NM, who I believe was on that roster for Red Sun, like as a 5th player at Riptide, also did commentary there. And Jimmy from InkSync, another player who's been a LAN journeyman. My question is this. I know Jimmy can do a lot of other things besides Charger, has done shooters, has done bamboo, but could we see a double Charger comp at some point? That would be pretty cool. Why not? Charger's really good right now, and there's a lot of maps that are really broken for Charger. You get on the right one, shoot them. Let's see double shooter at some point. Splat Force making their appearance yet again. They just won't die. The Cheetos crunchy cheese flavored chips flamin' hot, and then there's other stuff in parentheses that I don't care enough to get into. Cosmos, Red, Satan, and Slimy. Cosmos being the probably the I don't know who this Red is. I thought this was another Red that I'm going to talk about later, but it's not that Red because I found out who that Red was. But Cosmos, formerly of Jester, formerly of a lot of other teams, have really strong, if you want to say Div 2, even though Div 2 is literally an old now, so be it. But Cosmos coming back and being a strong player in their own right in this event, combined with Satan and the rest of the squad here, who is very, been to a bunch of the lands as well. Maybe not top 8 material, but we're not worried about top 8 material right now, because it's very difficult to get into top 8. Did that screw up anything? No. We're moving right along. Sayonara. Here we go. And like I said, this is the same exact roster that they are presenting themselves to have. Sun, Zero, Jared, and .Q. The one thing I say about Sayonara, this is the number 2 team. Are they more than capable of beating Starburst? Yes, 100%. And I don't know who the best individual player in the tournament is. Maybe it's Biscuits, maybe it's somebody else, maybe it's Zero. I don't know. I don't know who the best individual player is, but you can't tell me that there's anybody that's more intimidating. The most intimidating player in this tournament is .Q. If you got the best Charger in the game, in a game that is designed for Charger players, and there's no armor, and if you use missiles, people are going to clown on you on Twitter, .Q is going to light people up, and it just comes down to if they find ways to break through Zero and Sun and Jared and get to her, they'll find ways to get some wins. But that Charger is just going to scare a lot of people just by their presence alone. And that's what makes Sayonara so strong. The Coral Crew. Dynamite, Aster, Warmuck, and Plan B. This is looks like a little bit of a Purdue pickup. If Dynamite and Aster are coming out here from Purdue, I'm assuming these other two, who I don't exactly know just yet, might be some other Purdue folks as well. The Coral Crew, Indiana. Hey, I told you, Indiana's making a strong presence. We're getting better. We're developing talent. We could put in 6 teams and we get in there. Puck says Plan B does go to Purdue. So there you go. Not officially sponsored Purdue team, but just students that play Splatoon that just so happen to go to Purdue. How about that? That works out. Ya mum. This is no longer your mom because they brought in somebody from the EU, dude. So it's now ya mum. Power, Hope, and Storm. I believe they're trading out Hunty for dude coming into this one. Top 8 material? Yes. Past top 8? I don't know. Well, this will be one of those interesting teams that you play in Waterfall where you get the sense that maybe somebody like the RZA team, the Scroggly squad, maybe somebody like E with Brat.com and Bronze. Maybe they could find a way to knock off this team. I put them in the top 8, but you get the sense that this is the team that most people are going to be saying, oh, we could steal their spot. This is the team we could steal their spot just because of what they saw at Shine. But Dude coming in, I believe this is the first time Dude's played overseas since Genesis 7 as well. So that's nice to see. Yeah, you just think about like the star power that's going to be here. Like Barry, Mel, Dude, Vic Villian. That's like there's a lot of people that have followers that are going to be looking at this event as well. So a lot of cool stuff going on with that. Chara as well. I haven't even got the Chara yet. are they? Oh, they're coming right down the list as well. Tacticrew, Star Luigi, PP, Pepe, Dio, and Smork. Now, Star Luigi and Smork, I believe this is Pork Smork, have played in a lot of events together online. I'm not sure if they've done stuff offline before, but I am excited that Dio is here, not just because Dio is in chat, but because Dio gets the crowd hyped. Dio is the main cheerleader for the crowd, and when you got an event like this with a grand finals we're hoping for, with the people that are hopefully around this event, and you got Dio up there hooting and hollering and getting everybody excited, that's when it's like, yes, we got something going here. We bring the Low Tide City energy to a big house event. So that's why I'm excited about Tacticrew. How good they'll actually do? Again, top 8 material. Definitely top 8 material. I'm not putting them in the top 8, but they're going to be in that redemption round, and they're going to be one of those teams trying to stay above float in the waterfall thing because they do have talent there. This team, believe it or not, is my number 1 team. Bran, Ice, Biscuit, and Bagel. They won PAX West. They were the best team to come out of Super Jump 2. The question is, though, are they the same monster team that we always envisioned FT Win being with their actual roster? Or with the game changing, are they vulnerable a little bit? In Super Jump 2, which was Splatoon 2, it looked like they had separated themselves from everybody in the West, and they were just fighting Japan teams at this point. Like, okay, cool, Jackpot, you can take one game from us. Okay, cool, Ice, yeah, you're a little interesting. But we've separated ourselves. We don't care about North America or Europe anymore. We're fighting Japan. But PAX West, they were very, very, very close to getting eliminated in 4 games to Jackpot. And then they played them again on a little exhibition match, and Jackpot took it to them and humbled them a little bit, I guess, even though it might have just been a scrim to some extent. I don't know. But the question is Starburst the dominant monster we assume they would be, or are they coming out the gate of Splatoon 3 a little bit shaky, and they're not going to be the FT Win of this era, of this game? That is the question that's going to be answered this upcoming weekend. One of the teams that's going to be challenging them is Scam, Chara, and Arashi of Last Resort, combined with Max of 4v4 Sundays, the head TO of 4v4 Sundays, and Shadow Wind of Good Morning, Good Morning. And Shadow Wind gets to play Land Tintabrella. I've seen so many clips of Tintabrella, and it just doesn't frickin' work in the game at all. And sometimes it just flies off to God. Sometimes the Brella spawns in opposite areas it wasn't intended to. Sometimes you can throw out 2 Tintabrella shields for no reason. Hopefully at LAN, a lot of that is fixed, and there's a lot less instances of where Shadow Wind's like, whoa, wait, why did I die? I was behind my shield. It actually works at LAN, which makes Shadow Wind, which is a buff for that player in particular. And I know Last Resort with Chara and Arashi have been grinding there. I believe Chara is streaming right now, grinding pretty hard for Riptide in general. So this is my team that I got in the number 4 spot, just below the Kyo and Leafy team. But they're going to be challenging everybody in this tournament. One up, the final 3 teams here. One up, made up of Spirit, Andy, Deadbird, and Myth, Verdant. I have no idea who these guys are. However, I looked at their accounts on here, and I saw some interesting things. These guys have played in events such as Inkstorm, Squidstorm, events and lands that took place in 2017. That tells you one thing. These are former Splatoon 1 players. And I don't know how accurate these seeds are, but if this is the true number 12 seed, then they must have been really strong Splatoon 1 players back in the day. I could be dead off about that. They could have done Smash at all those events or something, or all I know. But just off the little information I could find on smash.gg or start.gg, these seem like strong Splatoon 1 former players that are coming back into this game. And hats off to being a strong Splatoon 1 player, not trying to play in low ink. These are the tournaments you should be playing in. And hey, it's just like riding a bike. You never forget. Yami. This is made up of Hunty, Red Star, Kotesu, and Tai. Now, it took me a minute to think, but this is the same player, Tai, T-A-I, that subbed for Climb at Riptide. Remember, they were having that issue with finding a player last minute. I believe it was this player that played for them. I looked at the Riptide roster, and this player's not on it, so I think it was just somebody they got at the venue, but they were doing flings back then, and they were playing very well. It wasn't just a player like, oh, thank God somebody with a Switch can play with us. No, like they were playing up to that level. And you got Hunty here, who was on that Your Mom team at Shine, and Red Star, who, if you don't know who Red Star is, will be one of the, he's usually one of the commentators showing up at some of these LANs. But there was also a server that was made recently that was designed for the older players of competitive Splatoon. Not old as in me, 30-plus-year-old old, but old as in like, oh, you played in Splatoon 1, now get back into this. So Red Star has created a server to get help transition Splatoon 1 players into Splatoon 3, and we'll see what they can pull off here with this Yami team. Last but certainly not least is another team. I have no idea who these are. Squid Pilled, Ghost, Emmy, Woo, Upgrade, and Sad Cat 837. The little information I could find about these players that made me think they might not all just be Smash Brothers players playing in this event was Ghost here, who played in a Coast to Coast tournament. Raise your hand if you remember Coast to Coast. Before SAC was a part of the IPL umbrella, Coast to Coast was one of their tournaments that they were running bi-weekly. It was like it was supposed to be geared towards the Australian time zone, but it was also in NA at the same time. But it was like an 8 o'clock tournament on a Saturday night. And Ghost played for a team called Riptide, which is a team my team has played many times back in 2018. So that was an older team. And that's the only information I could find about these guys in general. They've at least played the game. And if that's the best thing I can say about you, they at least played the game. You know what? We'll get an opportunity to meet them, and they have an opportunity to pop off. I'm excited. This is going to be a good one. This is going to be a good one. It doesn't need to be a good one. I don't think I don't think it needs to be more than what it's already kind of like been hyped up to be. I don't think this needs to like save lands for Splatoon in general. But it's just going to be one, if we live in the moment and appreciate what's going on here, we're really going to enjoy this one. I'll be seeing you guys there. My wife is coming with us. We're both spectating / volunteering / commentating for this event. So we're not participating or playing in this one, but we're just going to enjoy the event as a whole. And I don't know who else is going as spectators. That's kind of the thing that sucks about start.gg. You don't know who's just going in general, because you're not like signing up to spectate Splatoon. You're just signing up for the event. So there might be some other people not playing that I didn't read off right there that are going to be going anyways, just to be there. And I don't know who that is, but we'll see how it goes. Dio says this is the most stacked land I've ever seen for Splatoon. Genesis 7 was pretty stacked. Demise, FT Win, Sayonara, In Control, the old In Control Splatoon. There were a lot of monsters in that old one. But yeah, this in recent memory, this is as good as it gets. For sure. I'll see you guys on Monday with my recap of the Big House, and I'll see you guys this upcoming weekend. But if you would like to be a part of the Popcast in any way, feel free to reach out. My socials below: Twitter at Mr_Popgun, Discord Popgun, hashtag 5882, YouTube at 25Popgun, Twitch at Popgun25, Anchor.fm/Popgun. And is anybody streaming Splatoon? Barry is. So let's raid Barry. Make sure you get vaccinated. Wear your mask. You're going to have to do that if you want to go to LANs in the future anyways. I think I'm eligible for my 4th vaccination, so we'll be knocking that out when we can. I'll see you guys on Friday.